Now, Iran is holding a fresh round of naval drills in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's busiest oil and gas shipping routes. The week of war games involves warships, submarines, and jet fighters, as Tehran aims to show it is well equipped to defend its borders. The drills come as the West systematically builds up pressure on Iran over its nuclear program. For more on this, I am now joined by Soraya Sepahpour-Ulrich, an independent researcher and writer. Thank you very much for being with us. First of all, let's get right to this. This is the fourth drill Tehran has held since October. Is this a regular exercise or something a little bit more?
Well, for the past 32 years or more, the West, specifically the United States, has waged a covert war against Iran. So Iran, if you take any point in time over that past 32 years, it has been preparing itself and demonstrating its preparedness to defend itself. If we see more of a naval military exercises right now, it's because the media is focusing on Iran, whereas in fact, earlier this month, I believe it was December 12th or 13th, there was Operation Lucky Mariner with 27 countries participating, although a lot of them were observer states. And they were all the way in the Persian Gulf, in Iran's territory, and the media was silent on this. But when Iran demonstrates its readiness to defend its sovereignty and its national interest, then there's the media focus on Iran. So there's that discrepancy there.
Well, you mentioned that they're preparing to defend themselves, but do you believe that Iranians are gearing up for something more, maybe even possibly offensive?
I don't believe that Iran would ever take offensive action. For one thing, although already the court of public opinion has been built to be against Iran, Iran would not want to lose the allies that it has by being offensive. And secondly, and more importantly, I don't believe it's in Iran's nature to be offensive. Iran has not waged any wars, or it has not taken offensive action for the past 250 years, unlike those countries that are acting against Iran. So it's a very unlikely scenario.
Well, you mentioned that they have not waged any wars, but Iranian officials often warn that they could block shipping routes through the strait, which carries about 40% of the world's seaborne oil. How possible is it that Tehran actually takes such action in the near future?
Well, it depends how much is pushed. I mean, if Iran is attacked, I have no doubt that Iran would block all shipping. But Iran doesn't even need to resort to that. Iran at the moment is being very laid back, which does surprise me, given all the sanctions and all the threats. Under international law, what Iran could possibly do would be to, any state can do this, coastal state, if they fear that any shipping going through their waters are a threat to their peace and security. And clearly, some of the states in the region which do have ships going through the Strait of Hormuz, namely Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, they are a threat to Iran's security. Iran does have the right, according to international law, to block these ships. And that's an option that it can consider, and perhaps it should consider. The fact that it hasn't, I think, speaks more to its peaceful nature, and the fact that it does want to reach out to its neighbors and the world at large. But then I'm certain that Iran too is familiar with the saying that they're not taking any options off the table.
All right. Now, many believe if it wasn't for Washington deterring Israel, rather, it would have already struck. Do you expect a change in U.S. policy towards Tehran now that Barack Obama's second term is secured?
To be honest with you, no, I've never expected much from Mr. Obama, and nothing has convinced me to think otherwise. Barack Obama has, or at least recently, this month again, the Congress was presented with a bill for 10,000 bombs for Israel after according to them, because they use a lot of their bombs on the Palestinians in Gaza. But then these do have bunker buster abilities. They're smart bombs. Or at least half of them are. Mr. Obama has sent Patriot missiles to Turkey. And in fact, he has been far more aggressive in his covert operations than any other president in recent history. It's just that he's very clever about it. And he being clever, he does want to have multilateral He believes in multilateralism versus going all alone as George W. Bush did. So I don't think his policies would change at all.
All right. Appreciate your thoughts on the topic. That was Soraya Sepahpour-Ulrich live from Irvine in the U.S.